Hi, beloved. It's Pastor Jim from Zion Lutheran in Ann Arbor, Michigan, part of the ELCA. And I'm standing in the middle of a cemetery. And I just did a committal for a young woman who is 35 who lost her battle for a very short battle with cancer. Reminds me this coming Sunday, and our gospel lesson is from John 11, and Jesus is dealing with death. His good friend Lazarus has died. He's actually waited extra, and he finally gets there, and Martha comes and says, "If you had been here, Jesus." And Mary comes later and says, "If you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. If you had been here." You know, with this COVID-19, often we see those who have died as simply numbers that are on a chart or in the paper or on our screen. When you come to a cemetery, they're names. And when Jesus called his beloved friend out of the tomb, he called him by name. Lazarus, come out. In this day when often we are overwhelmed by so many other things because our days just aren't normal. We are reminded that our greatest battle is against the unholy three, as Martin Luther would call them: sin, death, and the devil. And here Jesus says, "I am the resurrection and the life." And the resurrection doesn't just happen at the end like Mary thought it would, but it begins right now. Right now, for us who are baptized and joined to Christ's death and resurrection. And it means that we are called to bring life and to speak life into this world when even right now there's so much death. Come out, Jesus says. Unbind him and let him go. Notice that Jesus invited those who were gathered there to be a part of that resurrection, to unbind Lazarus. And I think that's part of what we're called to do as well. Unbind those who are around us. Who do you need to check on? Who needs a phone call? Who needs a card? Who needs a little joy? Who needs resurrection spoken into their life? We are God's agents of resurrection unleashed on this world. May we take time this day to not only think about our faith, but to live it and to speak and live that resurrection that Jesus Christ brings to us, not just someday, but right now. I am the resurrection and the life, Jesus says. He has conquered death. There is nothing that can hold us or separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. Thanks be to God. That's good news, my friends. Especially in these days when things seem so uncertain. We are certain that the love of Christ can never be broken. Not even death. Christ wins again. Thanks be to God. Amen.